Welcome to Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Coming up on today's show, some surprising changes happening to the Miami Dolphins starting lineup for the 2024 NFL season. Some key additions to this roster during the offseason, draft, free agency, as well as some key losses that we need to talk about. But before we do that, you want more Miami Dolphins content? Best way to find it? Over on our Instagram. Yes, you heard that correctly. At Dolphins Today IG is the handle. We will have you covered with more content in short form, in just Instagram posts, in between each video. At Dolphins Today IG is the handle, so go give us a follow. All right, one thing that is not changing is who your starting quarterback is. Tua Tagovailoa is going to be your starting QB for 2024, regardless of an extension or not. Now, I do believe an extension will happen for Tua prior to training camp getting underway in late July. This is a big year for him, man. 5th year of his rookie deal option this season. If he gets an extension, he has to prove he was worth that extension. If he doesn't get the extension going into the season, he will have to play to earn a larger extension. 3rd year in Mike McDaniel's scheme and offense. I expect a massive year for the lefty for this Miami Dolphins offense. A lot of people are going to want Jevon Holland to be your starting running back, but to me, it's still going to be Raheem Mostert. 18 rushing touchdowns a year ago, nearing the end of his career, 32 years of age. But the good news is that he's had so many injuries and been so a part of many committees in his past that he's probably a young 32 years old in terms of running back age standards. He was phenomenal for the Dolphins a year ago, and I expect him to get the bulk of the carries again. I would probably say 55% of the timeshare would go to Mostert, with the other 45% being divvied up between these two guys, Jevon Holland and Jaylen Wright. Holland was terrific for the Dolphins in his rookie season out of Texas A&M, 800 rushing yards, 11 total touchdowns in 11 games. If he's able to stay healthy and play 15+, then he's going to have a large role. But they also did trade a future 3rd-round pick to draft Jaylen Wright in the 4th round out of Tennessee. Expect him to get a lot of work in pass protection as well out in the receiving game. These two will be massive for the Dolphins playing out of the slot, out of the backfield in the passing game, which is going to be very, very fun. Speaking of very fun, is your 3 wide receivers. It's going to be Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, and Odell Bekcham Jr. is your top 3. OBJ being the big-time new face of this Dolphins offense. Not many changes on the offense in terms of names in and out, but Odell Bekcham Jr. is one of the main ones, pairing up with Waddle and Hill, who is already the best duo in the NFL in terms of wide receivers, but you now get someone who has had tons of success in the past. Also has had a good season last year with Baltimore, putting up over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns in a not really pass-heavy offense as the 3rd option behind Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. I think OBJ is going to be a big-time addition to this roster and give the Dolphins probably another 500, 600 yards, but that's all you're really asking for out of a wide receiver 3. Someone not pictured there, though, but I want to mention, don't sleep on the rookie Malik Washington. Drafted in the 6th round out of Virginia, one of the most productive wide receivers in college football from a year ago, putting up 1,400 yards, having over 100 catches. He was an AP All-American 2nd team. This is a good young receiver that is going to have an impact for Miami. Was graded out as a top 100 guy in many draft experts. Fell all the way down to the 6th round for the Dolphins. Excellent value. I expect him to be that 4th wide receiver for Miami, as well as get some time in the slot. There is going to be some big-time plays happening with this Dolphins wide receiver group. And the Dolphins wide receiver battle will also be very interesting because there's a lot of names in this depth chart and roster, like Eric Ezukama, Braxton Berrios, River Craycraft. Will they make the roster? Taj Washington. Who are the 6, who are the 5 wide receivers that will be on the 53-man roster? We will have you in the loop on everything happening when training camp rolls around in July, so make sure you're subscribed. Starting at tight end, another newcomer, Jonnu Smith. This one has me very, very excited. I am a big fan of Smith's game. The best yards after catch tight end in the NFL. He was 3rd in yards after catch in 2023, only behind David Njoku and George Kittle. But if you take this time frame all the way back to 2019 and 20 when he was playing with the Patriots and the Tennessee Titans, he would rank number 1. He also has the most yards per catch on the team, 7.1. The next 2 highest at least from last year, was Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill at 5.8 and 5.5 respectively. Smith is going to have a good impact over the middle of this field. You can also get him the ball on jet sweeps, screen plays. He is one of the most athletic tight ends in the NFL. And a Mike McDaniel offense that has not always featured tight ends, I would expect that to change with Jonnu Smith. I'm very excited to see what he can bring to the table for Miami. This is probably what your starting offensive lineman will look like if I had to project it right now. Armstead and Jackson, no doubt, left tackle, right tackle. Aaron Brewer, who you signed a 3-year deal in free agency with, is going to be your starting center. Isaiah Wynn, assuming he stays healthy, will start at left guard. And Robert Jones is the right guard I'm going to project to start for this Dolphins team. It could be Jack Driscoll. It could be Liam Eichenberg. It could be Lester Cotton. But I will go with Robert Jones to try to replace Robert Hunt, who left for the Panthers in free agency. Now, with that being said, and me projecting Robert Jones, I still hope they sign a right guard. We've talked about it in absolute nauseum over the past week or so, but I want the Dolphins to sign a right guard, whether it be Mark Lewinsky, whether it be Greg Van Roten, whether it be Connor Williams, to stash him for 5 to 7 weeks before coming back from injury, and he be the next starting right guard. Either way, I think adding someone to this roster would be beneficial to help protect Tua Tagovailoa even more, as that is always one of the biggest keys for this Dolphins team. Those were the projected Miami Dolphins starters on offense. 11 names mentioned, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 5 offensive linemen. Actually, technically, I suppose 12 guys mentioned. But either way, grade the Miami Dolphins offense for me down below, A, B, C, D, or F. We'll start with the front 4 on the defense, and Calais Campbell is the newest face here, and I would project him to start for the Dolphins, right? Zach Sealer is your D-line 1, your interior guy, but after adding Campbell, he'd likely be his counterpart on the interior, and then assuming that the 2 on the outside come back healthy and are ready to go for week 1 against the Jaguars and Jaelan Phillips and Bradley Chubb, your defensive line, who might have been one of the weaker parts of your defense just due to not having a second guy to pair up with Sealer, losing Christian Wilkins in free agency, might be one of your strongest now because you add Campbell, the 37-year-old will be 38 during the season, who had 6.5 sacks last year, behemoth of a man, can stop the run, had 10 TFLs last year, but also provided 6.5 sacks. You now once again have a good interior defensive line duo to complement the pass rushers you have like Jaelan Phillips and Bradley Chubb, not to mention Shaq Barrett and the 2 rookies, Mo Kamara and Chop Robinson, you drafted in the NFL draft. This front 4 will be ever-changing, and Anthony Weaver is going to have a lot to play with to get after the quarterbacks like Drake May, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. I'm excited to see what this front 4 and pass rush can do in 2024. Move over to the mid-level section of this defense where I am very bullish on these 2 guys, the starting linebackers for Miami, David Long Jr. and Jordan Brooks. Obviously, last year, edge/linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel was here, and they also had Jerome Baker. David Long Jr. was on this roster, and I expect him to improve in year 2 in this Miami Dolphins defense. New scheme, new staff, but I do still think year 2 will be able to be more beneficiary. And I got a little bit of a take loading, and I don't even know if this is a hot take, but I think Jordan Brooks is going to be better for Miami than Jerome Baker was. There is a question surrounding Brooks on if he can defend in the pass game because he has a career pass coverage grade of 43.4 according to PFF after playing 4 seasons in Seattle, former first-round pick. But he is one of the best run-stopping linebackers. He had over 100 tackles in the last 3 seasons. He sees the holes open up alongside the offensive line. He accelerates, fills those gaps, and puts a big lick on the running back trying to come through that gap. I'm a big fan of Brooks' ability to stop the run, and if he could give you average pass coverage play as well alongside David Long Jr., I think you're going to have quite the good linebacking core in Miami. Corners projection is very easy. Jalen Ramsey, CB1, Kendall Fuller, CB2, and then Kader Kohou is going to be your nickel. Fuller and Ramsey are going to be your boundary quarters, while Kohou works in the slot/nickel, obviously. And I think you have one of the best, if not the best, corner duo in the entire NFL. PFF ranked both Ramsey and Fuller as 2 guys in the top 10 of their cornerbacks for the 2024 NFL season. Great starting unit. Really is. Depth is a little bit of a concern. Second-year man Cam Smith out of the South Carolina Gamecocks, who was a second-round pick. Like, he's going to have to play a pivotal role. And he only played 20 defensive snaps last year. Where are the trust on him being able to fill in for Fuller or Ramsey if need be? Now, after signing Marcus May, Nick Needham might not have to transfer to safety like he was doing in OTAs and minicamp. So that's another added depth piece on this cornerback room for Miami. Depth is still a little bit of a concern, though. Maybe Saron Neal, who came over from Buffalo, can provide you with some nice things as well. We talked about the safety and Marcus May, but he won't be a starter. Those two will be Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer. Poyer replacing, I'm just absolutely drawing a blank right now. I do not know why. Christ. Apologize. I just don't know why I just had a complete mishap here. Either way, Jevon Holland and Poyer will be your safety duo. We move on, folks. I really like this duo. I think Poyer and Holland are going to create one of the best duos at safety in the NFL. I think Holland's a top 5 safety in the entire NFL, if you're asking me. Maybe that's biased, maybe it's not. But Poyer will fill in as a nice veteran alongside Holland and be a nice mentor to Patrick McMorris as well, who was a 6th-round pick for the Dolphins this past draft. All right, we went through the starting defense now. We asked this question for the offense, but we are going to ask in a different way for the offense or defense. How good is this Dolphins starting defense? Scale it of 1 to 10. No rookie scores. Give me a decimal down below. I'll go 8.1. Make sure you do follow me on, or not me, but us on Instagram. At Dolphins Today IG is going to be the handle. Like I said, more content in between each video that we put on the channel. So if you want more and you want more Dolphins coverage, this is the place to find it. Dolphins Today IG is the handle. Go give us a follow.